Good morning, and welcome to Bitcoin and Beyond. We are live today talking about the future of Bitcoin payments. I am Melanie Carstens, and I'm joined today by a very good friend of mine, the genius mind behind Boom. Welcome, Dan. How are you?
Morning. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, so happy to have you as a guest on my show. Um, for those of you who don't know, I tell the story. I think I've told it so many times on Twitter Spaces, but when I entered into crypto 4 or 5 years ago, I spent my time sort of cruising around and eventually looking for something that could make Bitcoin into something that we could, use. And I stumbled across Stacks, and the first person I met was Dan. And at the time, I think the first investment I made, the first crypto investment I made, was $40 uh, on Boom with a Boom NFT. I love that idea.
Boombox, right?
Yeah, Boombox. That's right. So I think they started at cycle 12, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and I've got
There
cycle.
was one test one, super secret, like super rare, cycle 6 one that we had like 4 people have. But yeah, 12 was
Wow.
the first real launch.
And if you go back and have a look on the Gamma Marketplace, it's one of the highest. It's the Boombox Cycle 12 is a more expensive NFT than a Megapont, which is the Megapont. For those of you who don't know, was kind of the founding father of NFTs on Stacks. It kind of exploded after Megapont. So your original Boombox, I think, is about $299
What?
STX.
I
Yeah,
wasn't aware of that. That's interesting.
yeah. So I've got from 12 onwards. Um, so yeah, I was pretty early in that whole thing. Tell me how.
Yeah, I mean, we launched like I think the Stacks blockchain launched like January 21st or January 14th or 17th, somewhere in that week. And then Boom went live with NFTs and things like 2 weeks later, week and a half later.
Wow. How did it happen that happened so quickly?
Well, we knew that the blockchain was coming, right? So we had been actually developing Blockstack apps. So Blockstack was the precursor to Stacks. Um, we had been developing Blockstack apps prior to that, and with the launch of the blockchain, the Stacks blockchain, uh, we adopted what was originally going to be an app store app from Blockstack
Yeah,
to it evolved basically as we went through it. It evolved into this web wallet that we launched as a Boom.
that's amazing. So that was in 2021.
Right.
2021. Yeah. So that was it. So I literally met you, I think it was in what month did you say that was in?
That was January.
January, yeah. And I think I met you in May, somewhere around there. So yeah, it's been a long time. I've been with you along this journey and watched it come, and just a huge fan. How come you stopped doing, because I thought the boombox. So just to explain what the boombox is, what Dan and I are talking about. So the boombox is from a buyer's perspective. I don't know if it's something else from your perspective, but what we did was, so with Stacks, there's something unique that we have called stacking, right? So you take your stacks, you lock them up, and you earn BTC. So it's an incredible way to earn passive income, passive BTC. So what you could do with what Dan developed with Boombox, and this is right, Dan, you, from my perspective, buy an NFT for say $40. I think it started at $40. Possibly, I can't really remember, but anyway, so you'd put your $40 in. You would eventually, you could take your $40 out at any time you wanted, but as long as you had it, the person holding the NFT would earn the yield,
That's
right?
right. So I we didn't have the terminology at the time, but we were actually like the first liquid staking platform for Stacks. We didn't do it via tokens, so
Right.
we did it via NFT. So actually, our idea at the time was, let's give people an NFT as part of their stacking process, and the stacking process is completely non-custodial, but you get this NFT, and the rewards go to the holder of the NFT. So we thought, okay, there could be a marketplace for the rewards of these things, and people could trade them, sell them if they wanted to get their rewards, cash the rewards early. People who wanted to hold them longer could like buy those NFTs and then hold them for those rewards later. So that was like the original goal. It wasn't executed very well. It's like a liquid staking platform. It ended up being more of we kind of, I don't want to say pivoted, but we focused more on trying to highlight Stacks creators, people who are native to the Stacks blockchain, who are building NFT platforms or building artwork. And we wanted to highlight those folks. And so every cycle, we would work with a different artist. They would create an NFT for us, an image for us, and then we would make those NFTs available through the Boombox platform, which basically kind of by default creates some scarcity because we would have like 300 stackers at a time. So all of those boom boxes are like a max. I think the most we had was like 363 or something like that, 380. Those are all like rarely, fairly limited editions of that artwork.
Mm. You know, I really think you are way with that. I just feel like you were way ahead of your time with that idea because you are in the real world. People, when they invest their money, right, they either go and they put it in some sort of fiat investment growth place, whatever you want to call that, you know, they buy gold or shares or stocks, whatever it is, or they go on to like fine art. I mean, it's, you know, money and art go together hand in hand. They always have, but it's like crypto hasn't quite gotten there yet. They've got DeFi and NFTs, and they're near the twain shall meet. And it's kind of been, you know, how for it's been 4 years where I've kind of been really driving hard this kind of, you know, we've got to bring art to Stacks because without any art and culture on a blockchain, it's
Right.
cold, you know. And I think you were so ahead of your time by letting people take money and let their art really yield them, uh, create yield for them. Now, why did the boom box fall away?
It was a couple of things actually that just kind of happened in succession. We were building out the Boombox platform to kind of generalize it. So we, at the time, we were the only ones building this, and it was a smart contract based thing. So anybody could have copied the contract, but we wanted to generalize the platform so that any project, any creator could make their own. So we were doing that. We were working on that, and then there was a fork in how the stacking process worked, and I forget what the quite honestly I forget what the reason for the fork was, but we had a pause of like 3 weeks or 6 weeks in stacking, and that was part of it. And part of that was part of the new version of stacking was we had to update the contracts, and so we did that. But right as we were updating the contracts, we never really got them fully tested well enough for my comfort. um, and we also started. I got started on another startup, and so I kind of just took my attention away from that, and it just never really kind of
Mm,
came back after that sacking break.
yeah. I absolutely, I love that idea so much. And I just think um, I'm going to hound you. I'm going to hound you about bringing the boombox back. Make boomboxes great again.
I want to
You know, I
I
think,
want to bring them back in some form for this relaunch. Um, the
yeah,
actual idea behind that, it's been called several things. Go back to like the Blockstack days, where they were talking about it and they were calling it app stacking, right? So like uh, everybody's had this idea at some point in their evolution. It's like, oh, I can take my rewards and give them to a project or give them to a creator or whatever. Kind of apportion your stacking rewards to support the people that you want to support. And we took that idea. We wanted to do it with artwork. I had the benefit, quite honestly, of having a designer co-founder who was way more what's the word uh, insistent on, like, this is a great way to go. This is a great way to go. So it wasn't like me coming up with this idea by myself. We kind of evolved it. But he was heavily into art and artwork, and he's a big creator himself. And so this was like a way to also, um, showcase some of his stuff as well. And he actually did I think he did one of our NFTs, one of our boomboxes, and his wife actually did one of our boomboxes. Um,
Oh, wow.
but yeah, I mean, the idea has been around a while. I think the hard part about this is, like, you really have to stack a lot in order to get like rewards that are meaningful. So if you get like 5 stacks back from your rewards and you're sharing 20% of that, you're giving 1 stacks to somebody every 2 weeks. You really need like that to scale up to a huge number of people before that's actually a meaningful contribution to somebody or some project, right? So that's one of the issues, and that's part of that has to do with the stacks price, and the minor contributions, and all of that plays into that process.
I think though that you've got to look at it as well and I think there's 2 points. There's one side of it where I think that we still need to bring DeFi developer and artist together, because I think that's where we're also just going to get like an explosion. We're going to take this whole thing a step further, and that's the whole Stacks link thing, which is another whole story. But I think also, what was I going to say now? With artwork, you've got to remember, when you buy an NFT, it doesn't do anything anyway. So in my opinion, and I think where it's got to go is those, if you get on board like really high end artists, and you even limit them before people, so you don't just say it's a free for all. It's like there's only 25 of them, or so they're almost like prints, but they have this amazing, reward part of it, and maybe they're a little bit more. Maybe it's 100 stacks each, or you can even build them up. Where you're looking at someone like Reese, and Reese only does 20 copies. Shout out Reese if you're in the room, and you're paying 350 stacks for one of these things. Then it's so I think anybody who's buying fine art is not getting a literal reward from it anyway. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, and you're talking about you're definitely like identifying something that we didn't really focus on. Like, we could have made these more exclusive, and quite honestly, at the time, one of our other goals was to lower the barrier to stacking. So you said $40. I think it was 20 stacks, which is almost like when you get your stacking rewards from 20 stacks, you're just getting kind of dust, basically. I mean, it's very, very low amounts, right? But we wanted to lower the barrier to stacking to make sure like people could participate in this, as many people as possible, get these limited edition NFTs as part of a reward for like investing in the Stacks network and securing the Stacks network, right? I really hadn't considered what you're talking about. That's like a really interesting take on this. I like that.
Here we go. I'm bring. I told you, I'm going to hand you until we bring those things back.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Okay. So now, Boom has evolved over the last 3 years. So started off as an NFT platform, kind of introduced, like you said, the first liquid staking was very much, I believe, totally ahead of its time. I think you're going to find what you were doing is going to become almost the next evolution of NFTs, and then you start offering prints with those, so if you get one, you get exclusive prints. It's something that you can do, because everybody keeps talking about it's opening the relationship between the artist and the collector, but they actually don't know what that is. But it hasn't happened yet. It's kind of like, okay, well, we've opened the door. Now, what is in the room that we are Oh yeah, staking in art and music collectibles, like it was originally done with Boom, is still so early. Exactly. So I think, that is, I really think you are so ahead of your time in all of your thinking. And I feel like I wish, if anybody's listening, Dan needs a team. If you want to join Dan's team, and
True
because he
story.
is a genius, yeah, he's got incredible ideas. And that's what I want to talk about now. Let's go on to kind of the evolution of Boom. So we had this NFT marketplace, this very revolutionary kind of investing in art, still not ironed out, but a very incredible idea. And then what was the next step?
The next,
So we went through a bit, all kind of went, what happened after that? Let's talk about where it went kind of a bit pear-shaped in stacks and in crypto.
yeah, like I said, I kind of went separate way with a different startup. Went to a Bitcoin startup and worked there as a CTO for about a year. And during that time, Boom kind of languished. I didn't update it. Still, it was there so that people could still go and mint one of one NFTs easily, or one of 10s, like small collections. But we didn't have
Yeah.
the Boom.
Remember you Uzi and the artist, didn't you?
Yep, Uzi was one of our artists early on.
And the artist.
Yep,
I've got those as
yep.
well. Shout out Boozy. Shout out the artist.
Anieta and
Yes.
gosh, I can't remember them all.
Some of the greats are there.
But yeah, so I basically stepped away for a year to work on this Bitcoin development startup, and Boom languished. It didn't get any attention really. Like I said, it was still out there. You could still mint NFTs, small collection NFTs, but we didn't have the Boombox functionality, and the wallet functionality was there too at the time. But after a year at that startup, we kind of saw that we weren't monetizing, and that kind of puts a strain on relationships. And so one day I was just like, okay, we need to like step back from each other. I need to quit this, and that way we can still talk to each other, because we're not making progress here. And when I stepped back, I kind of was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Boom was always my baby. It's like, I mean, anybody who's created something, those things you
Mm.
always care about. So I started going back to update Boom, just kind of in my spare time. But right around that time, I think we were talking about the promise of the Nakamoto update, so faster block times, and SBTC. So actually, that was what kind of triggered my mind. I was like, oh, you know what? We've got a wallet here, at least the starting of a web wallet here. And with what I see in SBTC and Nakamoto, we have the potential here to like do something really great. I've been using Lightning for years. Lightning is improving, but has its challenges. And quite honestly, with fast blocks and with SBTC, we have the opportunity to build a better Lightning than Lightning. Because
Right.
instead of having to open up channels, and you've got like inefficient use of capital, plus all of the like separate security concerns, like opening watchtowers, to be like really um, non-custodial with Lightning, you've got to run your own Lightning server, your own Bitcoin server, and probably watchtowers servers as well, right? There's been a ton of work done there by like the folks at Breeze and stuff like that have improved this process. But compare that with Stacks, where you just open a wallet and create a wallet, and that's it. And now you've got SBTC, which is a one-to-one peg, secure one-to-one peg, decentralized peg of Bitcoin. Now you can take that SBTC and interact basically as if you're using Bitcoin to pay for goods and services. So, like I said, I had this thought that like we can build a better Lightning than Lightning. Lightning has done a ton of great things, and you can see kind of some shops out there that take Lightning. The processes are really simple and fast, but I wanted to replicate that using Stacks, and so I started working on Boom Wallet again, with that focus, with the payments focus.
Okay. Actually, you've never used Lightning, and I don't know anything about it. Probably shouldn't admit that, but never have.
Well, I mean, it's great, especially it's growing. But I mean, especially at these Bitcoin conferences, you create yourself a Lightning wallet, and then you can go and buy food, buy swag, things like that. Yeah, really
Really?
simple.
But then how am I buying? Because here in South Africa, our biggest like grocery shop, um, kind of probably like a Walmart, maybe kind of Walmart's groceries, right?
Right. Well, they do
Yeah.
everything, but yeah,
Yeah. This does
yeah,
clothes, gardening stuff,
yeah.
whatever. Um, and we can buy our groceries. Uh, we can shop there with Bitcoin. We can pay with Bitcoin. Um, but we use something called a Moon wallet. We put it into Moon. We have our Bitcoin in Moon, and then they've developed like a QR
Right.
code. So use the QR. It does like a bit of a conversion, but we're not actually paying with Bitcoin, right? It's converting into rands, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, so that's as far as I've got with thingy. But I want to talk about Bloom. I'm so excited with what you're doing. I saw Reese popped up as well, and he was like, "Whoa, so excited!" So yeah, we are. I think everybody on Stacks has followed what you're doing. You're the OG of the OGs, and I think everybody's so amped for what you're doing. So. You kind of like, there's Stacks Pay, which you're creating, and that is the lightning of Stacks. Then so I want to cover all of these. So Stacks Pay, you've got Boom Wallet, and then you've got Boom Shops,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So which order shall we talk about those in? How do you want to sort of go through that journey with me? When was it that you started? Because you said it was around the time you were talking about Nakamoto. So how long was Boom kind of dormant for? Until when? I just want to get the timeline in
Well, I'm
mind.
sorry. What was the question? How long was it dormant?
Yeah, like how long weren't you working on? When did you start again?
I started up February, March of this year, or I'm sorry, I guess 2024.
Okay. All right. So it's been about a year now.
Yeah, so I
The
mean, in timeline wise, when I was thinking, okay, we can build a better Lightning than Lightning. What's the thing that makes Lightning super easy is those QR codes, right? You can generate an invoice on Lightning, and somebody can scan that invoice. It pops up in their wallet. Says, do you want to pay, 2,100 sats or whatever? You click yes, and a few seconds later, or less than a few seconds later, it's done, right? And so I wanted to
Right.
create that kind of interaction on Stacks. So Stacks is the base layer. Stacks is actually the network, right? A decentralized network versus Lightning's kind of centralized uh, channel management or channel servers. Um, and then the layer on top of that is really the standards for interacting, standards for transactions. And so that's when I went to work on Stacks Pay. Stacks Pay is a proposed standard for the Stacks blockchain. It's a proposed SIP right now, but it basically defines how we can encode transactions simply so that we can make a URL or a QR code, and anybody can just scan those things. So all it really does is very simply is bundles transaction information into one kind of simple, easy to use link. So if you think about buying an NFT, for instance, you would have a buyer, a seller, or a recipient for the money, an amount, and then the actual NFT that you're going to mint, right? And so we just take those pieces of data, encode that in a specific way. That gives us a link, and then we turn that link into a QR code so that if you want to purchase that NFT, you just scan the NFT, you click pay in your wallet, and you're done. So compare this to the existing processes. If you go to an NFT store now, you're
Yeah.
you're searching for the NFT you want to find. If you're not logged in, you're like clicking to buy. It logs you in. You have to click
Yeah.
a message to sign a message to log in. So there's like just two clicks there just to get signed in. Then you click buy again. Then there's another message that you have to click to buy. We've seen like this process. If you're not logged in, it's like up to 7 steps. If you are logged in, it's a minimum of like 5. So there's 5 clicks to buy an
Okay.
NFT. we can get that down to 2, right? And if you want to be dangerous, we can get it down to like 1, or I guess one scan and 1 click. I mean, if you want to auto approve, for instance, auto approve transactions less than 5 stacks, right? Then I'm not asking you
Right.
to like verify every time. To be safe, obviously, you don't want to do that with all kinds of transactions, because there will be scammers who will try and say, "Hey, this is an NFT," and they're going to try and drain your wallet. So by default, we ask that people verify the transaction and the contracts and all that other stuff. But it simplifies the process. It brings everything up front to the user with 1 scan or 1 click of a link, and then they can either pay or cancel when they get all of the information presented in front of them.
Right. So ultimately, with Stacks Pay, you're looking at, you could authorize it to almost have just 1 step for under 5 stacks. Say you just go, okay, I don't really care if I lose 5 stacks. And then there's a protection as for a drainer, right? So you can't, what if you click on something that's 5 stacks and it's like a bad guy?
So we can't control bad wallets, but because this is a proposed standard for just wrapping transaction information. But what we can do is control our wallet, right? And so in Boom, what we do is we automatically look at the value in the transaction that's obviously presented to the user, right? And we build
Yeah.
post conditions based on the transaction data in the link, so that there's nothing that if somebody tells you it's 5 stacks and they put 5 out there, but in the transaction data it's actually 200 or something, or it's calling a contract call that's completely separate, like excuse me, we build post conditions based on the data in the transaction. And so if you see in that presentation to you that says this is 200 stacks, then you probably want to cancel that, right? They said 5 and it's actually telling me 200 here in the wallet. So we build automatic post conditions based on the transaction data, which should help people verify that they're actually completing the transaction that they think they are.
Okay. Now, how do I buy? So now I was saying with my groceries, I can buy my groceries now with just a click on a QR. Sorry, just open that door, please. Anno, just open that door, please. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Real life. It's live. This is real. It's all going down. My husband is just keeps coming in and out, and I don't know, he's looking for something and he keeps going, and I don't know what's going. But that's girls.
Happens here too.
Just pay attention that this is what husbands do. Okay. Okay, so we were talking about stacks, and the wallet. So I can walk into the store, Pick and Pay, and I do this whole thing where I use the QR code. As long as I've got money linked in my Moon wallet, it all goes down. There's a comment. I can't read it. I think maybe there's an opportunity here to develop a point-of-sale system that accepts many Bitcoin payment methods on-chain, Lightning, Stacks. The big challenge is a deep link QR that accepts the Bitcoin payment from any of these. This way, it does not matter what type. Is this what I'm talking about here now? Where you can, bloody honor. Exactly. Bloody husbands. Hey, Nieta, nice to see you. Is that what Goldie's talking about? Where I can walk in and I can pay for my groceries and stacks?
Yeah. So obviously we're at like ground zero for this process. The first step in that is like just identifying these link standards, right? These payment standards, these I should say transaction wrapping standards. But yeah, the idea here is you could use Bitcoin, you can use Lightning, even you can, or you can use Stacks or Stacks SIP10 tokens. We're building on Stacks because that's the platform that I'm familiar with, and we've got the fast blocks and the SBTC. So we're starting there, but yeah, definitely the next step is actually direct Bitcoin on-chain transactions, because in some cases you don't really care about maybe having to wait 6 blocks for a verification of a payment, right? In most cases, you're buying coffee, if you're buying pizza, if you're buying a T-shirt at a booth, at a conference, you probably don't want to wait 6 blocks, right? And so this kind of thing, using Stack,
Gonna stand here and wait for my transaction to
yeah, just
approve.
stand over there in that queue until for an hour while we verify your Bitcoin transaction. No, but in those cases, right, you want something quicker, and so there's like a real opportunity here to just make that super simple and easy, and that's what we're focused on right now. The Bitcoin part is definitely coming; it's on the roadmap, and we have we're talking to different groups from the Bitcoin Startup Lab that have already graduated about like ways to integrate with their Bitcoin projects and things like that. So it's definitely one of the things we want to do.
Okay. Amazing. I'm so excited about StacksPay. One of your first users, somehow, however I can do it, I'm doing it. Okay, so we've got StacksPay that is coming along. It's happening. It's going down for real. So we're very excited about that. Now we've got the wallet. Okay.
Right. So
You're going to have your Boom wallet and you're going to use your StacksPay.
right.
Is StacksPay going to be on any wallets and all
It
wallets?
is a proposed SIP standard so that any wallet can implement it. And
Okay.
we've had comments
Yeah.
on the standard from the folks at Leather. So hopefully, excuse me, if we have to prove the value for it in Boom, that's fine. We're going to implement it as the proposed standard. And hopefully we can prove the value, show them that merchants and users are ready to use this. And then they can implement it as well if they wish, or experts or whoever. The
Right.
way
That's
the way
exciting.
Lightning.
To leather,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just, are my lips and my voice synced?
Yes,
No, it's fine because on some of the, I'm still busy testing out. I mean, this is only our third show. So I'm still busy in the first two. If you watch back on them, my mouth is, and it also happened on the morning news the other day. Sometimes it happens. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to fix it. Sorry, what did I say now? I can't remember what I even said. StacksPay, wallet, Boom wallet. Oh, I was doing a shout out to Leather and Xverse. Just wanted to say hi. Those are our other wallets on Stacks for anybody who is not familiar with Stacks and who is watching for the first time. Let's go. Resh is in the house. Hey, Resh. There is a lag.
really, I don't see a lag.
You see.
I did see it when I watched the replay of your first show. When I watched it, there was
Yeah.
definitely a lag, but like one-to-one interactive here, I definitely don't see it.
Well, Peace says he doesn't see it either. So I don't know. Anyway, so we are, guys, if there is a lag, I am aware of it and I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. So as I said, this is only my third show. I'm still figuring things out as I go. So bear with me and thank you for doing that. Okay, so right. Boom wallet.
Right. So StacksPay is like the layer that we're building on. Like I said, it's an open standard. I was going to say that, like, if you look at the Lightning ecosystem, there's like 10 different wallets, and there's been some consolidation recently. But I would expect at some point there's going to be way more wallets on the Stack side as well, because implementing the standard super simple. I've already put out a StacksPay library that any application or wallet user can implement, and then to create and decode those links. So there's a Node.js library already out there, and we're working on a Rust and a Python library as well. So we want to make it super simple and super, widely distributed as possible. But StacksPay is the standard that we're building on, and Boom Wallet is basically being reimagined to focus on payments. So the original web wallet was focused on NFT creations, primarily focused around NFTs. Here we're trying to create a mobile wallet that's really focused on easing interactions between users and merchants, users and creators, all of that. And that means reimagining what the wallets look like. So Boom Wallet isn't going to look like your, sorry to say, like your grandfather's wallet. Like I say grandfathers, but these wallet interfaces have been around for 10, 12 years, 14 years, and they all look the same, right?
Yeah.
Send button up on top, a receive button up on top, your balance up on top, and then a list of transactions or NFTs or whatever. They all look the same. We don't want to do that. We're trying to build a place where we can have a marketplace that keeps people's attention. So we're varied marketplace. We have news feeds, we have event feeds, so that you can see events coming up in the ecosystem in the next couple of days. And the wallet is really kind of secondary. There is a link, like it's one of the tabs that you can click on to go back and see your wallet balances in the kind of standard traditional format. But the wallet really is just a back-end payment system. The way people would go to Amazon is like the example I like to use. Amazon doesn't put your wallet up front, right? They put the product up front. And so
Right.
we're following that same kind of model. We're putting we want to keep people's attention in the Stacks ecosystem, and we're putting that up front. And the wallet is just a way to pay. You can go see it if you need to do it, but it's not the primary focus. Now, I say it's not the primary focus, but we'll still offer things like stacking in the wallet, SBTC peg and peg in, peg out
Yeah.
in the wallet. So you can still do financial transactions, your banking, but the primary focus of the wallet is the marketplace and things like that, and the chat.
You're so right. And again, I think you are ahead of the curve, because even if you think about our existing digital, fiat digital wallets, they all started off exactly like that. They were just like, you could pay people, and now when you open your banking, your digital, it's just like everything, and you know what I mean. You can buy, you can click through. So you're so right. That is even what I find when I open on my desktop my bank. But it's not as advanced as what you're talking about, where we're taking it, because they can't do that, because they can't have peer to peer. So they are behind. This is where this actually gives us the ability to take wallets or the social experience of buying to the next level.
Exactly.
So it becomes a social tool or a social wallet, not having the back end up front, which is what we're doing
Exactly.
now. This is on top of the back end. Got you.
And
Okay.
it follows from, like, I've said this since the Blockstack days. Early on there were some who were like, hey, we're Blockstack and we really need to like find users, and how do we do that? Well, let's how do we create the unicorn app, right? Like that one app that brings in 1 billion users, right? And my assertion has always been, it's not a single app, it's an ecosystem of apps that keeps people in place. Like if you go to Stacks or Blockstack for one thing, and then you leave to do everything else in your day, you haven't really gained anything, right? What we want to do, what the real winning play, in my opinion, is a broad ecosystem of apps that keep people in your ecosystem, that keep people using your payment systems and things like that, so that everybody they don't leave Stacks, they don't leave Bitcoin, right? So we're really about expanding that Bitcoin ecosystem so that people stay in the Bitcoin ecosystem. They don't have to go out. And so part of that is, well, let's not just present them with a balance. Let's present them with things they can do, right? They can buy, they can interact with services, they can chat with friends, peer-to-peer interactions, and make those easy. So all of that is where we're going with Boom.
Yeah. Because that's what we need, right? Currently, you come to an ecosystem, and this has been my beef right from the beginning as well, is, it started off on Stacks with the Boom situation, and that was super fun. And then Megapont came along, and that was just like the most fun. Shout out to Megapont and everybody who's rocking an ape, and to Zero Authority. They are running right now. If you head over to Zero Authority's Twitter page, or to even, I think it's on mine, if you scroll down my feed, you can win a Megapond ape so that you also can be rocking one as your PFP. If you check my PFP on Twitter, along came Megapond, and after that, there was just this incredible explosion of communities on Stacks. We had so much fun. We had so much fun changing our profile pictures all the time and being in this community, that community. And you kind of understood this because that's what humans want. They want to be in a community. They want to be in a group of like-minded people. And it's an incredible way to do that. You kind of have a reaction when you look at a picture. You know, it's how we have told our story from the beginning of
We're
time.
social creatures.
You know, so you have, yeah, you look at a picture, you're like, oh my God, that can define, you know, it literally, you've got your community. You know, you don't have to have a long story of words or whatever. So, you know, I really kind of don't think we've seen the full journey of what an NFT is in terms of a community builder and maybe a DAO or whatever, all that stuff's going on there, what they're doing with AI and DAOs as well at the moment. I need to get that. I really want to do a show about that. Let's see, Resh. Sorry, for users that are currently handicapped by Strike and what's
I think TradFi is what he meant.
TradFi can use Boom to launch products, enabling them to now access global Web3 market without being handicapped by extortionate fees. That's another thing. We can interact globally without being absolutely punched in the face by banks and their charges. Okay, but now let's talk. I love it. I love boom shops. I love what you're thinking here. Let's talk about what that looks like. So I can go on and I'm a creator. So say, let's shout out to Reese because I know he's in the house. Reese can go along to boom shops. Are you looking for Anna?
I'm looking for my phone. It's vibrating somewhere and I don't know where it's vibrating. Sorry.
God, that's hilarious. The phone.
You've got your off-screen distractions. I have mine.
Yeah, no, it's real life, guys. This is not edited. This is how it looks in real life. Cheers. This is.
Sorry. So
it is. I don't drink.
So Reese, yeah.
Yeah. So now, this is for creators that are listening. For anybody who has a product, we can talk about real world, but let's start with digital. So now I'm a digital creator. I create art, and I can go or music, and I can go to Boom shops, create myself a storefront homepage, and display my things there.
Right.
Is that right?
And so we're working on branding as Boom Bazaar rather than Boom Shops. Open to feedback. Looks like you don't really like that name, but we're open to feedback on that. So we're trying to find the right branding for that.
Audience, what do you think? Let's have some feedback. Let's see some feedback there. I'm not a fan of Boom Bazaar. Sorry, Dan.
That's right. This is all an experiment. I like Boom Smart Shops, quite honestly, because we were using smart contracts since the back end for these things. But yeah, so again, we're at level 0 for these things. So
I'm not even concentrating. I'm thinking about names for shops. Stop and listen. Stop and listen. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So we're at ground zero. Right now, the shops are not going to be very elaborate because it's as you mentioned earlier, I need help. It's me building this. I'm building basically the 4 different applications to support this thing, and so it's a product listing essentially, right? But what's really important here in these shops is you have the opportunity to customize your shop a little bit and on day one, very little on day one, but we'll expand that. But with Stacks Pay, you really have the opportunity to take the products that you're selling in the shop and put those in front of users rather than having to pull people into your shop. You can go push those out to users, right? So whether it's email or Discord or Twitter or X, whatever, whatever your social network or whatever your social communication is, we have the opportunity now with StacksPay to pull that value out and present it to users directly and make it easy for them to actually interact, right? And so that's where we get, in my mind, like the real value. So we're creating these products in smart shops and in the bazaar, and then we're presenting them in the wallet for users. They can like scroll through, look at filter by categories, filter by tags, filter by types of by artist or creator or merchant or whatever, to get product listings that they're looking for, and then we want to facilitate that purchase or transaction.
And that's all on a kind of like a homepage feed, like you were saying. There's kind of a feed.
Yeah. So
open your wallet, and that would be constantly changing. So you could basically open your wallet 10 times a day, and something new would be. What would you see?
So we have like a trending list that has like, I think 5 or 6 items. And this is going to depend on the velocity of people creating new listings, right? So we take, I think, the latest 5 or 6 and just display those in like a trending list up front. But you have the opportunity then to go to like the market tab and then get like the full list where you can see all categories, everything that's been listed, and filter and search and things like that.
So exciting.
And this doesn't, isn't only limited to like purchases. For instance, I've created a listing, and I haven't shown this to the Skullcoin folks yet, but I saw Zenitron on here earlier, where we can do a play now. So if you go to Skullcoin and you launch their free game, it's basically an NFT mint to get you started, right? And so we can do that kind of thing, like in the marketplace as well. So Skullcoin will have their marketplace listing, and it'll be like play for free. And you can do like play now, and that play now link will basically launch their initial contract, and then we can redirect you to Skullcoin, right? So that you can start playing their game. So it's not just purchases; it's also, excuse me, any kind of smart contract transaction.
How is this different from a traditional marketplace like Gamma?
Well, one, like I said, we've got services and games and in addition to like the traditional marketplace stuff as well. It's not limited to digital goods. And again, you can still go to Gamma or whatever marketplace and peruse their listings. But this is a way to like I said, pull the value out and put it in front of users directly. That's like the biggest value that I see.
Because you can put that then on your Twitter with a link, and people just click on that and buy.
Yep.
Pretty much is where we're going with this. It's like you just extract it, put it on your social media, wherever that is, in Discord, like you say, wherever they allow links and wherever people trust to press on a link, and they can buy
it. We have one. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say we have one creator that's wanting to launch a new collection, and they've got some whitelist items, right? And so we can create a whitelist link, and people who are not on the whitelist, just their transaction will fail. Or people who are on the whitelist, they can click that link as well, and it'll work for them as long as they're authenticated.
So you can, if you want to kind of take that into that normie world, you can basically sell to a group of people who you choose. So you can make your product available globally to a community or to who you choose.
So again, this is going to be dependent on the smart contract, and the smart contracts are really where the superpower of this kind of Bitcoin payment ecosystem is. Lightning again has done some super work and make it super easy, but they're limited in the types of transactions that they can do, right? So with smart contracts on the backside, you really kind of exponentially grow kind of the capabilities of what you can do in a payments ecosystem. And so, yeah, if your smart contract says, hey, I only want to sell to people who have the Megapont PFP in their collection, right? Your smart contract, you can share a link for everybody in the world, but only the people who have the Megapont, in their collection will be able to actually buy, right? So again, that's on the smart contract side. We really are focused on bringing that value out to people and making it as widely available as possible.
That's so
But
cool.
anything you can do with smart contracts now, you can encode into these transactions.
That is so cool. Let's have a moment of silence for that genius. Okay, now let's talk about real world assets. So now I'm sitting here in Cape Town and I've got this piece of amazing wood and I want to sell this wood for $5 because it's a nice fan as well. Look.
Yeah, so we're not limited to digital goods. The marketplace, you can we're setting it up to support physical goods as well. Quite honestly, there's not a huge difference. The difference is really on the merchant side, right? Because they have to be able to track stock and identify prices and change prices and do things like discounts or whatever. It's still a transaction, right? If you want to sell that for 5 stacks or $5 or whatever it is, if you want to sell that piece of wood for 5 stacks, you just create a link that says, "Hey, wooden fan for sale, 5 stacks," and you send that out, and people can choose to buy it or not. Now, there's going to be scammers, right? There are people who complain that Melanie never shipped my fan. So there's going to have to be like an evolving community discussion about how we, manage that kind of thing. We've talked about like
Yeah.
decentralized rating systems, or like there's things we can do there, but we're going to have to find a way to surface data about how well people who sell physical goods are actually servicing their customers, right?
Well, how does it work on Etsy? I mean, how do people how does it work now in
Well,
Web
in Web
2?
2, Etsy can basically deplatform somebody who has a thousand complaints, right? That they're never selling anything. We're decentralized, so we can't just deplatform somebody. If they put a shopping contract out there, that's not something we control, right? And if they use the standard to provide links to those products that they never actually provide, that's not something we can control. So it's in a decentralized world. People are going to have to be a little bit more vigilant, right? We should never forget that blockchain is an adversarial environment, right? Somebody wants to steal your money. So at Boom, we try to make that, like I said, we try to make the transaction information. We pull that up, we present it as simply as possible, and we let people make a decision on like if they want to auto approve stuff that's less than 5 stacks, they can do that. If they don't want to do that, that's our default mode, right? We don't auto approve anything. So in a decentralized world, people are gonna have to be careful, but we want to provide also the mechanism for some feedback in that process as well.
Yeah, we coming up on. We've only got a couple of minutes left, and there's still so much I want to ask you, but I want to because it's very current. Silk Road and Ross Ulbricht. Okay, he was the first decentralized peer-to-peer marketplace, and you could buy real world goods there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So was that in that case? It was just a free for all. It was like, well, if it didn't arrive, that's the response. That's the price you pay for a decentralized
Yeah,
world.
I think, to be honest with you, I never used Silk Road, and I never have even seen interfaces for it. I think what I remember is they had some like not rating, but a feedback system or like a message system that they were showing, not message, but comment system that they were displaying.
Right.
But yeah.
Which is what you're talking about. I mean, you are talking about a chat, right? We haven't even covered the social side of things.
Yeah, the chat is almost separate because we want to surface again, if Melanie never ships my piece of wood, I want to be able to complain about it, right? Or I want to let other people know that, hey, be careful here.
Yeah.
So again, I think this is something that the community is going to have discussions on. Do we do a decentralized rating system? Do we not? Is there another way to prevent folks who want to steal other people's money from doing that, or at least minimize it?
That's an exciting conversation, because that is now kind of stepping, you can't just put Web 2 on top of Web 3 here. You really need to invent something.
And Resh points out that in Etsy they're holding money before the creators get it. And I think a lot of e-commerce places work like this. Like, you get paid after 15 days or after 30 days, right? Whereas here, the money's flowing immediately. When that transaction's done, it's flowing, and so it's in your wallet.
Maybe you could choose to, what's this? Resh. Damn, Dan. Boom Wallet has a wallet. What? Boom has a wallet. Shop, a chat. You are cooking. There it is. In print. Dan is cooking. We love Dan. Now, so you can't put the money in, like, what's it, escrow or whatever they call it, and the money sits somewhere until you get the product.
You can. I mean, that's something.
And like after 30 days, if you can stop it within, and the person only gets their money, you can either release it at any time you want.
You can do this. You can
Or
do this, but you need to set up, again, now decentralized oracles. And so this is something we've talked about too. Again, it's a multi-sig is just a transaction. And so you can encapsulate multi-sig inputs into one of our StaxPay links, and you send your money into a multi-sig where some decentralized oracle validates whether either you received a product or a product was shipped, or whatever the outcome has to be to release that money. That's also an option.
But look, I mean, it's a huge, what we're talking about here is, I mean, it's a huge undertaking. Like you said, you've been working on this for a year. If you are a dev, if you know a dev, if you know somebody who wants to help with this, it is, I mean, this is just one of the, I think, to me, what I love the most about this is your authenticity as a human being, and your ethos behind what you're building. It is good. And you come with a good heart and a good mind, and you're trying to create a product that adds value to humanity, which to me is so important. And I think it's, when I first met you right then back in the beginning, I kind of felt this, it was, you really are, you've been working for how many years now to try and create something, good.
Yeah, I came to Blockstack at the time because of the privacy and security options, and the Blockstack JS. It was a Blockstack JS library at the time. Offered a really easy way for developers to like implement privacy and security, data privacy in their own apps. So actually, my first app was a Blockstack app. Not my first app ever, but my first app in blockchain was called Note Riot, and it was a privacy-focused note-taking. Note Riot.
Okay.
And it was a privacy-focused note-taking app. And so own your own data was important. Privacy and security was important. It was basically like Google Keep or some of the Apple Notes, but it wasn't in the cloud. Or I'm sorry, it was in the cloud, but it was encrypted so that only you could access it, right? And so that's one of the things that brought me into Blockstack, and I've always had that ethos. I was one of those dudes in front of the libraries handing out Linux CDs back in the day. Privacy and security have always been important to me, and then just enabling technologies, quite honestly, that to be used in a good way. Like, there's so many ways to abuse technology. I think where we have the opportunity to make things better for people, we should try and do that as best as possible.
Yeah. And what a beautiful, we're on the hour, and what a beautiful sentiment to bring us to a close here. I mean, there's so many people, we talk about it all the time in the Stacks community, so many people like you, Dan, who are trying to do exactly that, who are here for the right reasons to take Bitcoin that one step further and make it a place that people can actually interact on, and in a good way. And I really love it. It's why I think I kind of have stayed friends with you for so long, because it's so important for us in this world of it's just constantly, it feels like, just lies and craziness and, wokeness, and it's so much action going on in the world. And it's just like, so yeah, I'm excited about it. I think that's a beautiful way to end it. What is next? What's the next step before we go?
The next step for Boom?
Yeah, for anything.
So the next
mankind.
For mankind. Um, I'll stick with the things I can control. I'm finishing up the Boom Bazaar interface so that users, or whatever we end up calling it, interface, so that users can go in and create their own stores and their own product links. I want to get that done because right now it's basically a manual process that we're kind of helping to facilitate. I'm putting in, I don't know if some of the folks who are launching with the marketplace want their names out. I haven't asked, so I'll just say that there's a few creators that we're creating all the links for them, links to existing NFTs, and like I said, new collections are going to be coming out. So we're doing all that manually right now. I need to finish the interface so that they can do this. Users can do this themselves, and then it's kind of testing and completing the wallet. There's a few little things that need to be finished, like the link to the marketplace is manual right now, meaning like I have to go and click on a tab and then I get the list rather than being able to link directly from our trending list. And then there's stacking hasn't been implemented yet, and SBTC, peg in, peg out. Those are known quantities, but they still have to be done. So there's some more development to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, and if folks are developer focused out there, if there's developers out there who want to, who share the vision, quite honestly, the hardest part about some of this stuff is finding someone who shares the same kind of vision, same values. So I've had people help before, and we've had contractors before, but yeah, if someone out there with someone is out there with the same values and ideas, I'd love to talk to you. But that's what's next for us. Continue plugging away on this until we get it right.
All right. And is there a date that people can look forward to, or are we just going to keep having you on every now and then, and we're going to keep the public informed on what to expect? You're going to work with some artists now. You said a couple of people. Hopefully, my partner is one of those. And those are kind of like testers almost of what's going to happen. And then you'll sort of start opening it up to more and more people. So people must follow Dan on Twitter. People must follow boom.money.
Boom_wallet.
No, what is your boom_wallet? So the website, you can go up to the QR. There we go.
Yep, the QR code.
There it is. And that is going to take you to,
I think, the Twitter.
Yeah. And then on there, you can get the link to boom.money. It doesn't work on Brave. So you have to go to Chrome. Just if you can't I can't seem to get on there on Brave.
Really?
Twitter on the QR code. Yeah,
I use Brave all the time, and I don't have an issue.
I'm sure I mentioned it to you before, and it was fine. It worked, and then now it doesn't again.
Huh.
Dan and I are just going to quickly have a working call. Bear with us.
Fire up Brave. Let's test this.
That's only just me. Yeah, just hang on, everybody. Put on some. Yeah, can have a coffee break. Go and get a cup of coffee. He says it works on Brave for him.
I haven't had an issue. I use Brave all the time. It's my primary browser.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's just me then. What does he say? He just looked and it's fine. Okay. So ignore that. Delete, rewind, delete, and edit that out. It works fine everywhere. So boom.money is the website. You can go and sign up there, right, for early access.
Sign up for an account.
Okay. And what else can people do? So they can follow you on Twitter. They can go sign up for early access and just sort of get engaged, get involved as much as they
Yeah,
can on Stack.
check the Stacks SIP website. I don't have the link to that off the top of my head, but if we can get more feedback on the SIP, the Stacks Pay proposal, that would be great. We need the users' perspectives as well as developer perspectives there. So more eyes on that would be great as well.
Okay, how does the SIP work? Quick. So sorry, I mean I'm going. Bear with me. Sorry, peace. So the SIP, just so people know, um, you're getting feedback on that right now, and you're still writing the or developing the SIP, and then people are going to vote on it eventually.
Right. So
You haven't gone
yeah,
through
it's
the
an
process yet.
approval process that you can define within the SIP. And sorry, I'm getting into technical speak here. So SIP stands for Stacks.
That's fine. There's going to be people who are interested
It's
in
Stacks
this. You
Improvement
know.
Protocol. It's a way to provide updates or improvements to the Stack ecosystem. In this case, our SIP does not change Stacks, the network at all, but it's a proposed standard
Okay.
for how wallets can interact with transaction data, right? And so we want to provide this as an open standard so that if Leather and if experts or others down the road see value in it, they can implement it the same way we're doing it, right? We don't want this to be a boom only thing. And so we can define in the SIP, it's already written, we can define what the approval process is. People can comment on that. Like if we say, hey, 2 wallets implement it, and people in general feel that there should be 10 wallets that implement it for it to be an approved standards, then they can say that. They can leave that feedback.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a GitHub process. Unfortunately, it's developer focused. But like I said, the more user eyes we get on it as well, just even if it's asking questions, the better.
How can we get, because that is a bit of a problem, right? With the way kind of Web3 works, is that it's very like developer heavy kind of language. And, you know, I even remember as a sort of a creative coming into this environment, I always felt kind of embarrassed a bit, or I don't know what the word is, but awkward, because it's not easy to understand. And then you've got to kind of go and read things on GitHub that are like, so it's confusing. I mean, only recently have I started using, and Hero Gamer forced me to, when I did the D grants. I was like, I don't want to use GitHub, don't make me. So how can we find a way for you to engage more with the people? And is there something maybe, maybe it's just like a Twitter thing? Maybe people is like a weekly tweet or something about what the process is, or what the SIP is, or what's going on. Do you do that? Do you have kind of like a weekly, maybe it's even like a weekly article?
I don't know if there's a weekly article that really covers this stuff, but
I mean, specifically.
Hero Gamer does a really good call that is open to everyone on Fridays, and
Yeah, the SIP, which Peace says, please come to on Friday.
yeah.
But what I mean is specifically for Boom.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done anything like that. That's probably a good idea. We should talk about it more and just
I can write an article for you every like 2 weeks, or even monthly or whatever. I love writing.
yeah. I think what you're right. What we should do is like use the Twitter, use the X Boom Wallet account to just talk about what's in the standard and get feedback there, and then and keep links to the standard so that folks can go if they want to choose updates in GitHub, they can do that. But also just provide us feedback directly as well. Like we can definitely take that as well.
I think it's going to be very helpful for you, because I think people don't understand almost how lonely this process is when you're building something, and it's kind of, you're just sitting there with your PC, isn't it? I mean, is that right?
That's my
You
life.
want
Yes.
feedback. Yeah, feedback is important. Interaction is important. You know,
And we posted about it, but we haven't done a good job of what you're saying is like making it widely accessible.
Yeah.
That's something we definitely need to improve on.
Yeah. All right, super. Well, we are 10 minutes past the hour. It's been absolutely incredible talking to you, Dan. Thank you so much. I am beyond excited for what you guys are doing with Boom Smart Shops, with Boom Wallet, Boom Chat, the Boom World Takeover, Boom merch coming soon.
Yep, I've got some Boom merch around here somewhere.
Have you?
Oh, okay.
Hey, I need Boom. I need a Boom. I need a Boom t-shirt. I'll wear it on my show.
Cool. I'll make sure you get one.
I want Boom
We got
boobs.
we've got one with a little logo tee.
Okay.
We've had that proposal.
I
We've had
wanna
the Boom Boobs proposal as well before. Somebody
I'm
somebody
telling
was
you,
like,
I've
it's
three Boom.
BOOM.
Yeah, exactly. What does Peace say? Oh, the chat disappeared. Oh, he'll take one too, I think. I don't know what. A boobs one. Peace.
Nieta too.
Oh, does she also want one that says Boom boobs?
We have
Boom baby,
hats too, which are really cool.
boom baby boom.
Um,
I love Boom. I have so much fun with Boom merch.
well, thank you so much for inviting me here. I really enjoyed this talk and always have a good time talking to you.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Dan. All right, guys. So, like I said, please follow Dan on Twitter. Follow boom_wallet on X. There's the QR code at the top. Please scan that. Get involved. And let's build this thing out. I think it is so important for stacks. It is so important for onboarding. And exactly like Dan said earlier on, you want to create a place where people can come and they've got stuff to do all day. They can keep jumping in and out of their Boom wallet because there's so much going on there. Because that's the next iteration, really, the social experience on in your wallet, right? So yeah, amazing. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful day further to everybody else watching. Thank you very much for tuning in to Bitcoin and Beyond. We are here every week on a Thursday, 12 p.m. ET, and I also do Twitter Spaces. I keep calling it Twitter. Sorry, Elon. I've just rebranded it. It's called the Weekly Stack, and we're going to be. So yeah, that's a new thing that I'm kicking off next week. So looking forward to that as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Spread the word. And I know I've got to say things that streamers say, like, subscribe, something of, or please do all those things. Okay. Thanks very much. Over and out. Cheers,
Thanks.
Dan. Thank you. Okay, bye.